Today we'll be doing the integral of x cubed minus 1 divided by x cubed minus x dx. And I would like to point out that this is a your suggested integral. And to start off, we will factor first x cubed minus 1. And we will notice that x cubed minus 1 is the same thing as x minus 1 times some trinomial. We'll call it g of x. So to find g of x, we could divide by x minus 1. So this means that g of x is x cubed minus 1 over x minus 1. But notice that the denominator is 0 when x is equal to 1. And so to find g of x, we will proceed with something called synthetic division. And we'll first notice that x cubed minus 1 is the same thing as x cubed plus 0x squared plus 0x minus 1. So the following setup is we write our x equals 1, and then we will write x cubed, x squared, x, and some constant. So the coefficient of x cubed is 1, the coefficient of x squared is 0, the coefficient of x is also 0, and the constant term is negative 1. And so what we'll do is bring down this 1, and then we're going to do 1 times 1, but that's 1. We'll add 0 plus 1, but that's also 1. Do the same thing. We have a 1, add it, 0 plus 1 is 1. And then 1 times 1 is 1, so add 1. And negative 1 plus 1 is 0, and this is called our remainder. And so what we do is we have a 1, 1, 1, and so here this 1 corresponds to x cubed, so we're going to reduce the power to x squared. Same thing for here, x squared will reduce to x, and x will reduce to 1. And so now what we do is add these terms, and this is actually our g of x term. So what we have is x cubed minus 1 factors into x minus 1 times x squared plus x plus 1. So now we're ready to do our integral. So we have the integral of x cubed minus 1 over x cubed minus x dx. And so this could be factored into the integral of, well, we have x minus 1 times x squared plus x plus 1 divided by x cubed minus x could be factored into x times x squared minus 1 dx. But we'll also notice that x squared minus 1, that's the same thing as x minus 1 times x plus 1. So we're going to have the integral of x minus 1 times x squared plus x plus 1 divided by x times x minus 1 times x plus 1 dx. And notice that the x minus 1's end up canceling, so we're left with the integral of x squared plus x plus 1 divided by x times x plus 1 dx. And from here, I'm going to rewrite x squared plus x plus 1. That's the same thing as saying x times x plus 1 over x. So we're going to have the integral of x times x plus 1 over x divided by x times x plus 1 dx. These x end up canceling, and so we have the integral of x plus 1 over x divided by x plus 1 dx. And notice we could separate this monomial into the integral of x plus 1 over x plus 1 plus 1 over x times x plus 1 dx. So we have the integral of 1 plus 1 over x times x plus 1 dx. We can separate this into two integrals. So we're going to have the integral of dx plus the integral of 1 over x times x plus 1 dx. The integral of dx is just x. So we have x plus the integral of 1 over x times x plus 1 dx. And for this secondary integral, we're going to proceed with integration by, not integration by parts, partial fraction decomposition. So for partial fractions, 1 over x times x plus 1 is some constant a over x plus some constant b divided by x plus 1. And so getting a common denominator, we're going to have a times x plus 1 plus b times x over x times x plus 1. But this is true when the numerators are equal to each other. So we're going to have a times x plus 1 plus b times x is equal to 1. And if we expand that, we're going to have ax plus a plus b x equals 1. Factoring out the x, we're going to have x times a plus b plus a equals 1. So this expression is true only when a plus b is 0 and a is equal to 1. But if a equals 1, we could replace it in the other expression. So we have 1 plus b is 0, but that means that b is negative 1. So we have a equals 1 and b equals negative 1. So 1 over x times x plus 1 is the same thing as 1 over x minus 1 over x plus 1. So that means that the integral of 1 over x times x plus 1 dx is the same thing as the integral of 1 over x minus the integral of 1 over x plus 1. So what we had was x plus the integral of 1 over x times x plus 1 dx, but that's the same thing as x plus the integral of 1 over x dx minus the integral of 1 over x plus 1 dx. So we're going to have x plus the integral of 1 over x dx is the natural log of x, so plus the natural log of x. And the integral of 1 over x plus 1 is the natural log of x plus 1. So minus the natural log of x plus 1, and then plus the constant of integration. So that's the result to the integral. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope this helped.